about your current situation after the attack on you last year.
No.
Sorry?
I don't really want to talk about that. I'm sick of it.
Okay, no problem.
Want tabloid news, talk to O.J. Simpson.
My next question actually relates to the Prairie Home Invasion album. Is the experiment in country music something you've wanted to do for a long time, or was it a recent idea?
Well, I wanted to do something along those lines for a long time. It might have been, I don't know, rockabilly, rhythm and blues, 60s style garage, or country. So when Mojo called me up and said, I want to do this, and here's when I want to do it, let's do it, I figured, what the hell, why not? So it sort of lurched into a countrified direction.
Any future plans to work with Mojo? Have you considered actually redoing the song Don Henley Must Die?
Well, Mojo has a new one that's coming out on his new album, kind of related to that, called Bring Me the Head of David Geffen.
I can't wait to hear that one.
And, yeah, I think Don Henley Must Die has re-entered his live set, too, because of the $75 to $100 a ticket Eagles reunion racket that went on this past year.
All right.
I admit I'd almost be willing to pay that much for a front row seat if I could bring grenades. No such luck there. I was especially happy that he did that song because the Eagles were a major source of pain when I was growing up. I grew up in Colorado, where the Eagles and country rock were king. They were based in Aspen for a while, even though they were all rich L.A. session musicians, and Firefall was in my hometown, and there were others plaguing the area. Stephen Stills and Joni Mitchell and Elton John had all bought houses outside of town, and got to the point where people would walk into a bar, I'm Rick Roberts of Firefall, give me a free meal, or I'm Stephen Stills, get away from that pool table. It was real gross.
In the song Will the Fetus Be Aborted, have you had much reaction from female fans of your music to that song, and especially, women who have been in that situation, perhaps?
Surprisingly, no. I think the fact that it wasn't formula punk rock at a time when that has not only undergone a revival, but in its pop punk form has become a commercial gold mine, especially in this part of America. I don't think as many people noticed that song as they might have otherwise. But no, I haven't gotten any complaints or much either way. Most people liked it because it was a pro-choice song.
Oh, that's what I actually meant. Yeah, I was just going to say I think it should be sung at pro-choice rallies, definitely as an anthem.
Originally, where it came from, it was written by Judy Berry and Daryl Cherney, who are better known as the two Earth First activists whose car blew up a few years ago in Oakland in an assassination attempt against them. And one of their theories was, well, I think it was probably something to do with the lumber industry and or the FBI. They had also sung that song in front of a militantly anti-abortion church in Northern California. And some people didn't think too highly of that, of course. I mean, it's very bizarre to me when people call themselves pro-life and then run around shooting abortion doctors, but I guess that's what America is coming to, as hatred is encouraged to come further and further out of the closet.
Be
you just heard there is Will the Fetus Be Aborted, which happens to be the single that came off the album that Jello Biafra did last year with Mojo Nixon and other assorted musicians that provided the backing band for Mojo Nixon. And we are listening to a Jello Biafra interview that I did a few weeks ago. And after a bit more of the interview, we'll play another song off this album called Love Me, I'm a Liberal, which Jello talks a bit about.
And seeing as this is the Jello Biafra interview, we're doing a whole 1.5 hour tribute. We're sorry to those people who are ringing up for requests. Business as usual next week with giveaways, but seeing as this is such an exclusive, we're just going to stick with this one thing tonight. Feel free to call us on 380-2980 if you have a gig, and we will announce them all at the end of the interview. Do not worry, we'll plug them to death. Here's some more of Jello.
How did you come to work with the Choicettes on the song? That they, of course, do the chorus. What's the background to them? I don't...
I'm not sure where all of them came from. They were friends of the piano player who lived in Austin and just rounded up some people who he thought had good singing voices. And another one was visiting me in Texas from Atlanta, so she got thrown into the studio too. The funnier part was we did that song live at a club better known for rhythm and blues and roots rock known as Antone's in Austin, Texas. And the audience was mainly a Mojo audience, but not entirely. So there were some well-dressed kind of country gals up near the front row. I said, hey, you want to sing on this next song? Sure, and got them on stage and then told them what they had to sing. And some were more comfortable about it than others, according to people who saw it from the audience.
If I could ask you now about the song Love Me, I'm a Liberal, a theme that comes up in the song, as in your previous material also, is that of people on the one hand being keen to improve the situation in their community, i.e. schools, the education, etc. And on the other hand, getting cold feet as soon as higher taxes are mentioned. How do you react to the argument, and particularly perhaps from those people who are really struggling, that the government raises enough money from taxes and they should be setting an example themselves and taking a pay cut and distributing the money far more responsibly? And
well, they don't distribute the money responsibly, nor do they collect it responsibly. In California now, more money is spent every year on prisons than on education. Prison guards make twice as much money as teachers do. And I said before on one of my spoken word albums, I don't care if I get taxed higher if the money goes for the real needs of real people. I mean, if I was in charge, taxes wouldn't be abolished. They would go way, way up against the people who could normally afford to pay. I mean, how many people really need to possess $1 million, let alone $100 million? I agree with the California Green Party in that there not only should be a minimum wage, but a maximum wage.
Mm-hmm.
Why not yank away everything after somebody's made $100,000 or so, which is a pretty damn good income? You can do almost anything with that. And the payback would be free medical care, free transportation, including air travel for everybody, perhaps subsidizing the arts so that all concerts are free. What people don't understand when they whine about raising taxes, especially in California, where they voted down a single-payer health care system that would have been free to most people. Mm-hmm. Nobody makes the connection, hey, if people who've got too much money pay a little bit more, we're going to get all this paid back for free.
Yeah.
So I'm not one of these libertarians who are saying, oh, we should abolish all taxes and have no government funding for hospitals or schools. In America, look what would happen if that ever went through. The only people who could get their diseases treated or get an education would either be the super wealthy and fundamentalist Christians, and that would be it.
What about the argument then that in the current situation, with individuals having more of the money left to their own devices, then they could use that against the very corporations and governments. And
hardly any of them do. Once people get a huge amount of money, I've noticed they seem to become more and more obsessed with making more money or protecting what they've already got. We've seen the upward flow of income with Reagan and with Thatcher. I don't know how drastic it's been in Australia, but the whole way they've rigged the tax system and the laws is to make the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and then the rich just sit on the money invested in stock scams and whatever else, or trying to do hostile takeovers of other companies just so they can possess them. Then what, it all becomes an ego game to them as they slowly suck away the money from other people, including pension funds of the company they've taken over. Suddenly people who've worked for 40 years suddenly find they have nothing because some scam artist in Houston took all their money. Another horrible example is this guy Charles Hurwitz, who Daryl and Judy and the other first people have been fighting, who just sits in an office in Houston and did a hostile takeover of Pacific Lumber Company, which owns a lot of the land where unprotected redwoods are. And instead of a slow cut like Pacific Lumber had done for generations to both keep people employed and make sure the forest isn't stripped, Hurwitz's idea is, I bought this company to liquidate all its assets, sell off everything, and make a killing as quickly as possible to pay off my junk bond debts. Therefore, all loggers are going to work 12-hour shifts, 6 or 7 days a week, safety standards be damned, and I want every tree gone as quickly as possible. That's the kind of thing that this is what happened with the Reagan era, when they figured if you give the rich more money, it'll all trickle down to the rest of us. None of it did. They just stole it all.
I cried when they shot John Lennon. Tears ran down my spine, and I cried when I saw JFK, as though I lost a father of mine. But Malcolm X and I see had it coming. They got what they asked for this time. So love me, love me, love me, I'm a liberal. Recycle my cans and jars. How long can you love the dead? Hope those funny grunge dads become stars. But don't talk about revolution. That's going a little bit too far. So love me, love me, love me, I'm a liberal. Clinton was chosen, my faith in the system reborn. I'll do anything to save our schools, if my taxes ain't too much more. And I love blacks and gays and Latinos, as long as they don't move their soul. So love me, love me, love me, I'm a liberal. The LAPD should all hang their heads in shame. I can't understand where they're at. Arsenio should set them straight. But if Neighborhood Watch doesn't know you, I hope the cops take down your name. So love me, love me, love me, I'm a liberal.
You know, I'm the whitest person that ever did the funky chicken.
Yeah, I read the New Republic, Rolling Stone and Mother Jones too. If I vote, it's a Democrat with a sensible economy view. But when it comes
That when you mentioned Earth First, now that sort of leads into a question I had on when you did the piece Grow More Pot, the spoken word piece. How active have the green groups, at least in America, for instance, been in regard to that issue of getting pot legalised? I know you talked about it quite extensively.
Very difficult upward struggle because, as I mentioned before, in addition to the military-industrial complex, we now have a growing prison-industrial complex as well, with people wanting to thump their chests saying we need more law and order, more law and order, even people possessing small amounts of pot or having their houses seized and sold out from under them, all their property confiscated, or they're serving very, very long prison terms for something that was almost legal until Reagan and Bush got in. And Clinton is all for the drug war. He wants to do more of this. He's just like Bush when it comes to how he handles the criminal justice system. So even advocating legalization or decriminalization can often put you under suspicion. And the way they've rigged the drug laws now, they find a few pot seeds in your car, they can prosecute you as a bulk drug dealer and seize all your property and sell it before trial. Some police departments do that as a revenue-raising operation. Just figure somebody who's got some money, who might have a little bit of pot lying around, let's go after them. We can divide up. You can get this car. You, officer, can get this car. We'll just take the house and sell it and put it in the so-called police benefit fund. But, of course, police benefit funds are never publicly accountable, so they're probably just stealing it all. In Los Angeles, they actually uncovered a ring in the sheriff's department that was doing exactly that.
Can we talk a bit about lard? I was wondering if you could tell me what's been happening with them lately, how much more difficult...
Hey, now they're in Australia. Why don't you ask them?
You mean coming out here with ministry? I know they're going to be...
Yeah, I mean, that's Al and Paul's main activity, of course, so they've just had less and less time to do other things, and so there hasn't really been much movement toward making another Lard album at all. At one point, Al sent me a tape of stuff he thought he wanted to use, but then it never got any further than that. It was some really good stuff, but I don't know what he's going to do with it at this point. It's kind of up to him in a way. So Lard is in limbo unless people light a fire under their ass.
Right.